Vuyo Mvoko is on the steps of St. Peter's Anglican Church in Gqeberha. He's going to be talking education. Vuyo, good morning. The province achieving its best matric results we saw recently since 1994. So there are mixed blessings when it comes to education at your location. Tell us more.
Indeed, Iman, they've had the best matric results since 1994, but of course you still have over 100 schools that are still using pit latrines, a legacy that this province has not been able to undo, certainly not to the extent that it is required. In fact, 30 years down the line, you will know the stories of this province where children drowned and died. But of course, during that briefing, when he was talking about the best matric results, the MEC of education in this province also made the commitment that this is going to be the year where they deal with that big problem. But as with everything else, there's just so much going wrong, in this province. I'm going to move out of a shot a little, just to give you a sense of where we are and where things are and where things have come from over the years. Right in front of you is what used to be the CBD, and that is where the main economic activity in this city, the biggest in this province, was always concentrated. But of course, over the years, it's a shadow of its former self. Many of those buildings that you're seeing right in front of us lie in ruins. But what the Nelson Mandela Development Agency is beginning to do, which is the point of us being here this morning, a little later on we'll be talking to their CEO about how they're trying to revive the CBD, how they're trying to rebuild, including, of course, taking on legacy projects like the St. Peter's Anglican Church, which has a whole history of around the Group Areas Act, forced removals, and so on. As we then move towards the harbour, this is where some of the main economic activity, this is where ships would come to load stuff or bring stuff to this part of our country, which in itself has had its own challenges. But again, there's a positive thing to the picture you are seeing, because a lot of things have actually moved to the Kucha zone, which is what we're going to talk about in the next hour or so, where a lot of promises were made, but which in that instance, certainly in the instance of Kucha, the Kucha development area was actually delivered. In other words, while you have the city center here lying in ruins, just like the church we are broadcasting from, on the other side of what you are seeing is, of course, Kucha, which is a shining example of some of the positive or the good things that have actually happened to this city. And on the other side lies another dream deferred, which was the fact that this area was at some point earmarked to be an area where there was going to be this waterfront development, as you can see it in Cape Town. That dream, of course, has never been realized. You now have a situation where the children of this city can do or make do with the only thing that can give them hope, which is to stay in education, hoping that at some point in their lives they will be able to study, they will be able to, whether it's becoming entrepreneurs or whether they can occupy high positions in industry, to really ensure that they can rebuild. In other words, they have a future for themselves, unlike those of us who have had to leave this town because over the years, Johannesburg, Cape Town, and elsewhere is where opportunities were. Now, the Nelson Mandela Bay Development Agency, together with the business chamber in this province, are putting a great deal of effort in ensuring that the schools, in other words, what we saw a couple of weeks ago, where the matric results were the best that this province has had since 1994, becomes the new normal. And institutions like the Nelson Mandela University, which is on the other side of town, can actually produce the best that they can produce, but people who will stay here and, of course, improve not only the city, but the entire province. As Malungelo Booi would have witnessed when he was here only the other week, here is a glimpse into the state of education in the Eastern Cape and the hope that people here have that education is really going to deliver the goods for the people of this province, and people will indeed improve. And what you're seeing, the sad story you're seeing behind me, will indeed begin to improve from now on. Take a listen, take a look rather at Malungelo Booi discovered or found when he was here just only a week ago.
This school sign might be new, but that's where it ends for the Thekwini Junior Secondary School. The rest are old prefabricated structures built in 1986 by the former government of the Transkei. 800 pupils are forced to cram into just 9 classrooms every day for a semblance of education.
Abantwana xa kunetha kuyanyanzeleka uba uprincipal abakhulule abantwana babheke emakhaya kuba bayanetha eziklasini bengaphakathi esikolweni.
Sidala esi sikolo.
Esi sikolo sidala kakhulu msasazi. Esi sikolo senziwa ngumathanzima. Esi sikolo ngo-1986 sisenziwa ngamaJapan.
Fono says almost every year they are forced to replace some of these prefab classes.
Njengubona apha kunje ngoku eli plank selidinga uba lisuswe kuba alingeke libe sabetheleleka kuba selimanzi kwalona.
Limoshwe imvula.
Limoshwe yimvula ngoba imvula yehla pha phezulu kulaa ndawo ebefamene evulanda, ivulanda leyo engekhoyo ngoku.
Ayikho safe ke ngoku for abantwana yonke le nto.
Abantwana abekho safe, even nootitshala abatitsha kwesikolo ngaphakathi.
Faced with this dilemma, parents with children at this school took the bold decision to build this structure boasting 2 extra classrooms from their own pockets. 20 kilometers away, parents at Cabasa Senior Primary Schools have followed suit. They too constructed classrooms for their children to learn in. To date, all the government has done is to provide these mobile classrooms and restrooms. But without sufficient funds and expertise, the structure the parents have raised funds to build doesn't quite meet the required safety standards. But for the school governing body, beggars can't be choosers.
Abasebenzi abazali uyayiqonda imeko yasemakhaya uyabona bahlupheka but ke umuntu into xa eyifuna uxolela ukulala engatyanga uyabona so ke bazama olohlobo ke abazali beplanisa bayakha ke yalo luhlobo ke ululo.
Nkoliso's implored the government to step up and fulfill its constitutional obligations to both the pupils and the community here.
Into esifunayo buti singabahlali baseChabasa ne-SGB yesikolo kukwakhelwa isikolo.
As part of their efforts, parents also constructed this makeshift kitchen.
Kuhlala kunye nabantwana phaa eklasini ukutya. To leyo ke ngoku ifaka abantwana engozini because kaloku apho kukhona ukutya khona ziyangena impuku ngoba zibizwa kokutya. Xa kungena impuku kulandela inyoka andithi baphi ke ngoku abantwana bapho ootitshala.
Over the past 30 years, the government has vowed to improve facilities at schools such as Cabasa and Thekwini. In fact, the Eastern Cape Department of Education even claims to have made inroads, but they admit significant challenges remain.
We have a 79 billion rand backlog of infrastructure in the province. 79 billion. This backlog basically what it says is that to overcome this backlog in the next 10 years, you essentially need 8 billion rand unencumbered to focus only on ensuring that every single school complies with the minimum uniform norms and standards. Tekwini is on that particular plan for a complete overhaul at 32 million. Kabasa is a school which that is a bit tricky because it is earmarked for closure.
As President Cyril Ramaphosa delivers his State of the Nation address on Thursday, both Sekunyana and Fono will be listening rather closely.
Upresidenti agxile futhi ekwakhiweni kwezikolo khona ukuze bakhuthazeke otishara.
The president's address will likely deliver on Sekunyana and Fono's wish for more schools, but whether his words will translate into action for the communities here remains the big question. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Malungelo, Booi in Port St. John's.
If that doesn't move the nation, Vuyo, I don't know what would. The plight of little children, their whole future really in the hands of government. And let's see whether the president's words translate into action.